Welcome to the Pinter Beer Chef, a channel dedicated to the Pinter 3. Here you'll learn everything you need to know to brew like a pro. Okay, today I'm going to show you how I go about cleaning the Pinter 3. There's 3 essential skills that you need to learn to master the perfect brew when you're using the Pinter system. And that is cleaning, sanitisation and mixing your fresh press correctly in the Pinter 3 before you put it into fermentation. If you master the basics, then you're 100% success. You'll get a perfect brew time after time again. Before I move on to cleaning this Pinter, I think I've got about 1 glass left in there from a chocolate stout that I brewed using an all grain recipe, which at some point I'll be knocking up a video for you to show you the method, to show you the grains and the yeast that I use. Very simple recipe, easy to do, only cost about £15.50 for all the stuff that's required. You'll need a little bit of equipment. I'll do another video on that to tell you the kit that you need, only about £30 worth though, and you can do all grain small batch brewing in your Pinter 3. That will take it to another level. Let's have a look what we've got left in here. I'm pretty sure there's going to be at least a glass out of it. I've had it on the go now for a bit. Oh, you can see there, it's just down to the gas now, so perfectly timed, ready for cleaning. This chocolate stout, oh, I can't wait to show you. I can't wait to show you how I knock this one up. The smell of it, the look of it, and the taste of it. I wish you could come through the screen and try it. But if you stick around and check out my upcoming videos, you'll be able to brew it yourself and see what I'm talking about. The first thing I'm going to do before I start the cleaning process is make sure that all the pressure in the vessel has been released. I'm going to do that simply by pulling on the tap. Just wait until all the gas is clear of the system. So it's going to give me no problems unscrewing the lid and cleaning the Pinter. Now I can just quickly pop the handle off. We'll use that in a minute, but we'll take the faceplate off now. We'll just put it out the way. The faceplate is not likely to be dirty at all and probably won't need washing, but if you want to give it a quick rinse under the tap, then that's fine. So I'm going to pop the Pinter up in the sink, pop the lid up, unscrew it. Now for this initial part of the cleaning process, I'm just going to run some hot water from the tap. I'm going to put 3 litres of water in here. This is just to give it an initial rinse to get all the real dirty stuff out before we give it a more thorough clean. So I'm just going to now, when I'm mixing and rinsing or mixing the brews, I tend to shake the Pinter and actually spin the vessel around as I go. It's probably not necessary. If you want to, when you're mixing your brew or when you're cleaning your Pinter, if you're not comfortable handling it to spin it around like that, then just going back and forwards vigorously, that's going to do the job. It's not going to be a problem. At this stage, we're just looking at getting rid of the worst of it. As I tip the Pinter up, I tend to rotate the top, rotate the Pinter to give the lip a good rinse as I'm tipping it all out. So that will have taken the worst of it out. And now we'll get started with a more thorough cleaning. This time I'm going to put another 3 litres in. I'm going to put just a drip of washing up liquid in. Nothing crazy. Just a couple of drips and that's all you need. Same as last time. Lid back on. We'll give it a good mix up. Now at this point, I'm going to pop the tap back on and I'm going to run off the hot water. Give it a good 10 or 15 seconds to work through that tap, get any of the residue from the ale. If the tap starts to come to a halt like that, you need to open up your valve at the back to let the air into the vessel to get rid of the vacuum, and then it will keep flowing. So of course this carbonation dial was still set to number 5, which is in full pressure mode basically. So it causes a vacuum in the system, stops the tap running without pressure. So if you open it up to 0, that will let the air in through the valve, let the water run out nicely. So that's it. Once we've given the tap a good run clear like that, you can take the handle off, pop it back in your sink. We'll give it another turn it as we go, just to clear that edge. I can see inside there, of course you can't see with the camera, but I can see where the stout has got a little bit of, it's got a bit of an edge there that needs cleaning. I'm going to tend to that shortly. But now we'll take the component parts off. Now we've rinsed the tap through, just basically give it a quick rinse through a couple of times. We'll unscrew that, disengage the tap. We'll take the yeast guard off and we'll put that on the side, ready to be cleaned separately. Now where this tap has been in here, you can see it's still got a bit of stickiness in there, still got a bit of residue. So what I'm going to do again, another 3 litres. We'll put another drip of washing up liquid in there. We'll give it a spin. Of course, we can't shake it now with the lid on. Now the tap's off, else your water will come out there. So we'll give it a good spin, and this time we're going to focus on running the water out of the tap. Okay, now another 3 litres. Now we're going to pop the pinter up on the side. And what we're looking to do now is open up the valve, carbonation valve, set it to 0, and that's going to let the water, the hot soapy water, trickle through. Now this was a particularly sticky brew, this chocolate stout, and inside that carbonation valve there would have been a lot of sticky residue. But like with all the brews, it's really important to get that valve running clear with hot water and get it nice and clean. You must have the top off or the tap off for this, else the vacuum will stop the water flowing through. So that's why I do it in this process. I'll give that a good run through, a good clear through, to make sure it's thoroughly clean. Give it a good 30 or 40 seconds easy. Okay, when you're happy with that, turn your valve back to number 5, which will turn it off. If you feel that the water's too hot when it's trickling out here and you don't like getting hot water on your hands, just put an extra litre in from your cold tap to cool the water down. But for me, to be honest, the tap water is hot, but it's not a problem. It's not going to cause me any injury. Now we're going to clear the hopper. Whether we've used the hopper or not, I'd always recommend that you flush it through, make sure it's clean. Now these hoppers, the cap, has got a nice little design feature here, whereby you can pull the cap out, you can pull this unit out from the cap, turn it around and clip it back in. In this position, when I screw it in, it will fully depress the hopper and it will let the water flow out. So as I screw that in, you'll see a really good flow now coming out of the hopper. The hopper port will get flushed out nicely now. Of course, this is the process, essentially, that you will go through when you're sanitizing your pinter as well. But it's very important to get this cleaning process thorough and correct as well before you take on the sanitization for optimal results. If you get this wrong, that's when you're going to start to be having problems with your brew. At this point now, just remember to flick that back round into this position. Otherwise, when you come to your brew, if you screw it in the outward position, you're going to find it's going to depress the hopper valve, let the air in, spoil your brew. So always remember to turn that back around, clip it back in place and put it there, ready to be washed. What I like to do now is get a clean damp cloth put your hand inside the hopper with the cloth, although I can visually see that most of that, I don't know if you can see it, you probably can't, but most of that now is already looking spotlessly clean. But nonetheless, I'm going to put my hand in, I'm going to give it a good clean underneath that ridge. I'm going to work my way down, all the way down and around the vessel. So if there's any residue stuck to the sides or the bottom, when you get your hand down the bottom there, you'll be able to see where the hopper port and the carbonation valve sticks up. Give them a good wipe around there with a cloth, all around the bottom of the unit. And make sure that this vessel has been wiped down thoroughly. Okay. Now we're going to move on to rinsing. We'll start with a hot rinse. We'll give it one last cold rinse now. Now that vessel now, have a look in there. Once you've done your cleaning, have a look inside and make sure that it looks absolutely spotless. But if you follow this procedure, that is going to look clean as a whistle and smell absolutely fresh. Now at this point, this vessel now is ready to be moved on to sanitisation. All we need to do now is clean through the component parts and we're ready to go. Quarter fill your sink or half fill your sink to a hot but comfortable temperature. Pop your clip off. Your tap. Give these a little soak. Now, to clean the tap through, although we've rinsed it, we've rinsed the tap with the water that we ran through the pint of 3, but we're going to give it a final cleaner here, of course. We're going to do that by running the hot tap. We're going to open up the tap and put that in front of your hot tap until you start getting water flowing through the tap and out the other end. And then do the reverse of that. So your tap's been flushed through. It's had the washing up liquid detergent flowed through it here, and now it's been rinsed through with hot water. So you know that the inside of the tap now is going to be nice and clean. And we can focus on the rest. Now I don't find you need excessive scrubbing or cleaning with these. If you just look at it and clean it with your hands, you'll probably find you don't really even need to use anything abrasive or no scrubber. You can bring that up nice and clean. Any residue of fermentation or signs of your last brew, totally clean. Rinse it off with cold water. That's ready to go on now to the sanitisation process as well. You can see these are spotlessly clean. Rinse it through. Now when it comes to cleaning this, the lid, what you'll see is if you push this, that is how it auto disconnects. So when you push your docking station on there, it depresses that and opens up into the actual Pinter 3 and lets it connect and your beer flow through to the docking station. And that's why, of course, when you take your Pinter, your docking station from your Pinter, that auto disconnect, it automatically closes off and you can go on with your conditioning, which is a fantastic little design. When it comes to cleaning this, I like to use my two thumbs to press this clear and work it up and down in the water to thoroughly clean any gaps in the valve or in the mechanism. I'll just let some of that water out, then we'll give it a rinse. Okay, so that Pinter is now thoroughly cleaned. And all you need to think to yourself now is, if you're going to do a brew immediately, you can put this back together, dry it off with a kitchen towel, with a paper towel or a cloth. Just dry it down the best you can, put it back together, and then move on to your sanitization process. Only do that if you're about to run a brew immediately. If this is going to sit around for a few days and you don't intend brewing straight away, leave your Pinter unit on the side, let it dry off naturally, and when it's 100% dry, just put it back together and leave it sitting on your side somewhere until you're ready to brew. And at that point only, then go through the sanitization process immediately before you brew. And that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed your video today. If you'd like to join our Pinter community, like and subscribe and leave any comments below. Cheers.